The Matrix is a science fiction movie classic that was released in 1999. This movie revolutionized the film industry for its visual effects and action set pieces, but it also left its mark on an entire generation with its philosophical ideals. In it, we can find Oriental philosophies that references Judeo-Christianity, which has led many to speculate that the writers of the film really wanted to convey a clear message to our reality, that we are being controlled, and that a savior will come to liberate the humans from the system that controls us, and that Neo, our main character, is that savior. However, he may in fact be an allegory of Jesus Christ, created by the machines to keep the humans under control. Today, we're going to take a look at one of the theories behind the Matrix.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
This film begins by introducing us to Thomas Anderson, a man who lives a double life. During the day, he is a boring office worker, but at night, he is a dangerous hacker called Neo. Neo lives his life without an apparent purpose, but knows that something isn't right with society, so he spends his time trying to figure out what's going on in the world. Later, he meets Morpheus and Trinity, two mysterious individuals who are a part of the Resistance, a group of rebels with the intent of revealing the secrets behind our world. According to the film, the humans became so dependent on AI robots that the machines eventually retaliated against their creators. In a desperate act, humans burned out the sky to prevent sunlight from entering and thus depriving the machines of solar energy. But the machines found a way to compensate by using humans as their new source of energy. Connecting the humans to a simulated program, they were being deceived into believing that the world was normal. From the very beginning of the film, the writers left us clues of what each character's role in the story was based on their names. Neo means new. Also, it is an anagram for the word one, as in the one, or the chosen one, as he is known in the film. The concept of a savior is pretty old. From the very beginning of humanity, we can find stories of rescuers or enlightened ones similar to that of Neo, from Buddha, Krishna, Dionysus, or even Jesus Christ. The parallels of Neo's life with that of Jesus Christ are pretty clear, beginning with his fondness for Trinity. Trinity means three, for which is a Christian dogma that states that God is of three consubstantial persons. Just as the birth of Jesus had been prophesied, the emergence of a savior which will free humanity from slavery was prophesied. A savior who was not born of natural means. The arrival of this savior to destroy the Matrix. After Neo is assassinated by the agents of the Matrix, he resurrects and exhibits his newly acquired abilities. In future films, we can see his ascension through the skies, and in the third film, we see Neo is sacrificed for humanity. He is shown as he extends his arms in the shape of a cross. The references to Jesus are very evident, alongside other references to the Bible, such as the city of Zion, the ship the Nebuchadnezzar, and a traitor similar to Judas named Cypher. But why did the writers decide to add so many religious references? The concept of a savior? What were they trying to tell us? During the conversation between Neo and the architect in the third film, the whole story of the supposed savior was actually a fabrication of the Matrix itself. The purpose was to keep the people who had escaped under their control, and that this has happened several times before. When Neo sacrificed himself, the so-called prophecy that the humans would be released from the Matrix was not fulfilled. Nothing changed. It's as if everything was going according to plan. According to some theories, the real world as it is portrayed in the film is actually another layer within the Matrix, created to keep the deserters under control. It is for this reason that Neo has powers outside of the Matrix. According to Agent Smith, several simulations were created to keep humans under control, and that the current Matrix was the result of all of them. If this is true, the existence of a savior within the Matrix would only be a creation of the machines to keep humanity under control. So what is the message that the creators of the film wish to tell us? Regardless of the religious symbolisms, it could be said that this is an anti-religious film, for which the idea or belief of a savior is no more than a fable imposed by the same system that controls them, a response to the desire of the people who want to be freed, but there is no real escape. When they believe that they have beaten the system, they could actually be falling into another simulation, convinced that they have awakened, but are actually still asleep. Also in the film, we can see several similarities with the allegory of the cave by Plato. This allegory asks to imagine that several men are tied in a cave since birth. They cannot even move their heads. They can only see the wall directly in front of them, from which they can see shadows of animal statues and other objects that are passing in front of the light of a big bonfire that's behind them, like a movie projector. These men will think that those shadows are from real creatures, because they cannot look at what's behind them. If one of the men is released, he will not only discover that what was making those shadows is not real, but by escaping the cave, he will see that the light that was shining was not a bonfire, but from the sun. The sunlight will hurt him and produce blindness, because he had never seen the sun before. He will eventually adapt, and would realize that he has been deceived his entire life. He may return to the cave to tell the other men how the real world looks like, but they will just say that he is crazy, because their vision of reality is limited to the shadows on the wall. Just like in the movie after Neo awakens from the Matrix and asks, "Why does my eyes hurt?" This is a clear reference to the myth of Plato's cave. Neo has been imprisoned all his life in a reality imposed in front of his eyes, like the men in the cave. He finally realized that it was all a hoax. The allegory of Plato is usually used to explain how some people limit their reasonings of reality based on what they can only see in front of them, and label those who do not share their vision of reality as crazy. Of how one of the men escaped the cave and returns after seeing the real world and decides to tell the other men what he saw. Similar to Neo, as he is the one that decides to return to the Matrix to liberate the humans. For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.